So today I wanted to show you a tool called Google Jamboard, which is Google's collaborative interactive whiteboard. If you've been using either Google Slides or the Zoom whiteboard potentially, and you're finding it limiting as far as what students how they can interact with you and with what you're trying to do, then Jamboard might be a tool that you find useful. It's included in G Suite for Education, and it's fully integrated with Classroom and Drive. So to get there, just jamboard.google.com. Plus button creates a new file, and here I am. You start with just a single whiteboard frame, but you can easily create new ones by just clicking the arrow button, and then you can navigate between them. You can duplicate slides from here and delete them too. And here's your user interface. It's fairly simple. There's just a toolbar to the left. And you have some options for background, like for instance, graph paper. You've got a few limited, that's a pen, marker, highlighter, and paintbrush in a couple of colors. And when you write the pen, you can either use undo, clear frame, or the eraser button to get rid of markings. But you can't use the cursor to move these around at all or select them or change the size the way you can with a lot of the other things you can do. So the pen tools are only working with the eraser or the buttons on the top. But if you do things like make sticky notes, which is what I'm doing now, you'll see that they're very easy to interact with. And one of the nice things about the sticky notes too is that they sort of auto format to the size of the text that you're putting in. So if I wanted to create these manipulatives with just single letters on them, that's fairly easy to do. And then once I'm done, you can just move them around easily, stack them on top of each other, change the order, change the size or the rotation. So almost everything, so everything else except for the pen markings, you can manipulate in the same way, which is useful obviously for sorting or other kinds of manipulating information. Below the sticky note tool is the image tool, and you can upload something from your computer or from Google Drive or Google Photos, but the most useful thing is to do the image search and just find what comes up. Likewise, with the image, you can stretch it or shrink it, move it all around, anything you want to do. You can duplicate it if I need a bigger one for labeling parts. The tool at the bottom is the laser, so if I select that, I can highlight certain things. Of course, I can also use the pen to label parts or have prompts for students to label parts. Let's see. Oh, and then there's the shape tool, which likewise, I can stretch this, I can move it, I can write within it, for instance. Label it. Right, so that's just a very basic intro to Jamboard. Oh, I will say one thing about the sharing option. So obviously you can share just like you would any other Google file, either with specific people or with anyone on the internet. There are also ways that you can share it directly within Google Classroom and give your students editing access through Classroom. Instead of you don't even have to bother with the sharing settings at that point. And I'll show you those in a later video. But until then, have fun playing around with Jamboard.